Allow me to introduce this week's Dvar Torah with a story that took place during my rookie year of teaching in 1982. I had volunteered to teach the weakest track of an 8th grade in a boys' yeshiva. And one day when I was walking home from yeshiva, I was approached by a store owner, a gentleman who owned a fish store around the corner from yeshiva, bitterly complaining to me that two of my students had rolled a smoke bomb into his store while it was full of customers. The next morning I came into yeshiva, I approached the two boys, and I asked them, would you like to do tshuva or would you like a punishment? So the kid said, well, what's a punishment? I said, the punishment is I'll send you to the principal's office and you probably get suspended for a few weeks. Okay, so what's tshuva? I said, tshuva, repentance, would be for the two of you to go in next week and help the store owner for an hour. Once you see what it's like to work for a living, and you'll have second thoughts before you disturb a person's business. So the kids very quickly decided that tshuva was the way to go. And I set an appointment with the store owner. I walked them into the store. We set an appointment for next week. However, word got out around the yeshiva. I didn't tell anybody, but word got out that they had gotten this punishment, and it became a scene. You could imagine the kids were placing fish orders, and it really became quite the scene. So one of the boys approached me, and he said, Rebbe, it's too much punishment now, because when you punished us, you weren't factoring in the fact that we would be embarrassed. Now it's much too much. I realized that he was right, and I told them that they should do some chores, make some money, and buy the man a gift and write an apology note. But what was fascinating to me was that the children understood that there was a method and a logic to the punishment, and they came to me and challenged me on it respectfully when it didn't match anymore. In this week's Parsha, Yisro comes out to the desert to see Moshe Rabbeinu, his son-in-law, and the Jewish people. And Rashi says that he came because of the bells and whistles. He heard of the splitting of the sea and a miraculous battle that they had with Amalek. Several psukim later, Yisro exclaims, Ata yadati ki gadol Hashem mikol halekim. Now I know that the God of the Jews is greater than all the other gods. Ki badover asher zadu aleihim. Because they were punished, mida keneged mida. There was a punishment that the punishment fit the crime. There was a logic to it. And my dear friend, Dr. Ben-Zion Twersky, pointed this out to me, how important it is to see that there's logic to the punishments. Today we call it consequences or outcomes rather than a strict punishment where there is no match. And the research shows that there's clearly a much less resentment when this happens. Something to think about as parents. Thank you very much, and good Shabbos.